going extreme. Extreme, I says. Hey, everybody. It's another live edition for channel members of 20 Minutes of Coffee. Why did I title it 20 Minutes of Coffee Goes Extreme? I'll tell you what, because I needed a title, and I needed a title that would pull you in. If how do I get you to watch a show of a man just sitting at his Studio B at his own office, sipping coffee, and I gotta threaten to go extreme. I think that's where it's at. Channel members are live with me here today. Michael McCarcel, Cajun Michael McCarcel, we're gonna call him now. David McKay's here. Laserbolt put down the drones, and he's here. Matthew Stokes as well. Matty Gunner. Matty Gunner has heard this is a place to come for coffee talk. Yeah. The beard is at the point where I need a drinking rag. I was going to go to the barber today. And I got to tell you, that alarm clock hits, and you're like, nah, we ain't going to do that. There's just no need to get up early and go do anything. So I'm here. Matty Gunner asks, is it extreme because I put 5 shots of espresso in your coffee? No. Is it a Team Zoc branded drinking rag? No, I do need that. I need to get back to using my Team Zoc mug. I've got the Bespin one because this is just a large cup of coffee. The Team Zoc mug is a little smaller, which is probably fine. That's probably better for all of us if we can limit our coffee intake. But at least I got the Team Zoc branded beanie. Go in the link down below. Go to the Stream Elements store and get that beanie or the hat or the underpants. I don't think I sell underpants on there. It'd be kind of fun. Team Zoc underpants. I got you branded right on your butt. All right. This is what we're doing. We're hanging out. The world's a serious place as always, so I'm just trying to make my way through it with all of you here. We're live at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. I'm happy to say, for those who've been following me for the last couple months as things around me seem to fall apart, a little bit of an upswing, when you change your approach and get support for the people around you, including you out there listening or watching right now. It's not that good things are guaranteed to happen, but things start to happen. I have picked up some work in the YouTube writing world, starting on some projects this next week, and I was finishing one up this week on Ghostbusters. So what that means is I've had a little less time to stream in the mornings, but I ain't going away. And the Wednesday streams, if you're not watching the Blathering Lives, those are going well, and I'm having a lot of fun doing that. That's kind of the lay of the land. I said some kind words about Richard Lewis yesterday on the stream. I'm going to say them again on any time. Was just watching a lot of clips of Richard Lewis this morning. That's, for me, I don't think I talked about Richard as much as you would think, based on how much I just love his work and find his work influential on me. But there was a big Richard Lewis era in my comedy coming up days in the mid-2000s where I studied Richard a lot and just absolutely loved him on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Just absolutely loved every scene. He was pitch perfect and perfect foil for Larry. And some of the greatest scenes the last 20 years of television are with him and Larry. And but a life lived, and I'm trying to, I didn't know him personally, never got to meet him. One of those legends I didn't meet. I've met a few legends in my days, but yeah, man, I'm still watching the clips, man. We all should be so lucky to leave a legacy. For me, the legacy of Richard Lewis was taking the demons that we all have inside, but he took his demons and not just found the humor in him, but found a way to talk about him in a way that made him seem real to all of us. There you go. Yesterday in the stream, we were talking a lot about. I want to switch over to the news footage. All right, I'll switch over. There's just bad news. It's bad out there, and we thought we were getting closer to some sort of ceasefire, whether temporary or otherwise, in Israel and Gaza. It does not look like that's going to happen anytime soon, based on this horrific incident today I've been reading about when I woke up. But lighter fare for a second. We were talking yesterday on the stream about a lot of things, food, as we always do. We ended up talking about New Orleans, and Michael McCarcel unveiled that he's Cajun. He says in the chat here, "I will admit the decidedly not French last name makes it confusing, but my dad was adopted by his stepdad, so my lineage is a little confusing." All right, that's fine, but you're the Cajun captain. We're going to call you that. I can't wait to get back to New Orleans, in that region. Love it. Matty Gunner says, "I met a legend, and I'm named Ken Napzok. First words said to me were, 'Look at this bleeping rock star.'" I didn't say bleeping, though, did I? I think I said it. Because I'm a dirty, dirty bird. All right. I'm going to switch over to the news. I sometimes try to push past this, but it's just... I haven't even read all of this stuff here, so I want to be sure. I haven't had the IDF opening fires, people waited for food. That's not good. Well, many casualties were from aid trucks accidentally ramming people. Oh, boy. Ah, boy. And this was, there was now at least 104 killed. This was the food. There was some aid being dropped in there from Jordan. Just not good. And then on top of that, the death toll in the region is now past 30,000 people since Israel's war with Hamas began in October. It's just it's not good. It's not good. And that's all a light way of saying this is just your soul is just inundated with this stuff. And that's international. And then you go to, today we got Trump and Biden both at the border, dueling border visits, and then the fire in the Texas Panhandle is one there. People coming in the chat here as we look to the deadly Texas wildfire, 1 million acres. I can't even watch. They got the video of this poor girl in her house being lost. And this is why I always say, man, I love everyone in this country. And even though there's some states that have leaders I don't like, we are a nation. One nation, one might say, under a god of your choosing. I don't know. This fire's crazy. And it was when you have folks in your life who don't believe on any level, climate change, global warming, whatever you want to call it, and don't let them do well, why is it now called climate change? You used to call it global warming. Just shut up. This is a fire that was pushed along by unseasonal high winds. Looking at this story here, so even if a electrical wire broke and started it, as what I think the Hawaii one was, that was pushed along by the same kind of situation. There you go. Checking in with chat here, so we get to the news again. This is sometimes I feel guilty. This is what I do on this show. This is me. This is all of us waking up. You pour a cup of coffee or a tea or an orange juice, and you sit down and you look at the horrible news, and then you think, "Oh, how am I going to get up and work today? Or how am I going to live?" And then you look in chat and you got friends. Friends like Kingsport Cal, who says, oh, my God, what do we got here from Kingsport Cal? Says, "Ken, I recently started playing Fortnite. I'm hooked. Getting killed by, getting eliminated by teenagers for YouTube is fun." Yeah, it's fun. That's a great game last night. I've switched to, they released Lady Gaga in the game, and I switched to Gaga, and I think I've won 80% of my matches over the last week since Gaga came out. I've got Gaga energy, and it's crazy. McCarcel says, McCarcel says, "Oh no, Fortnite has claimed Cal." Kingsport Cal says, "Yeah, I'm starting to get into it. I had to figure out how to play it." Ken's streams gave me an idea of what I was doing. Yeah, I'm not done doing the game streams. They're on ice. They're on ice. They're on hiatus right now. Maybe I'll do a Gaga game stream. Maybe we can do that. Maybe I can do that. All right. Look, you try to find a happy, but what the color of urine tells you is the happiest story I can find today. I'll go to BBC News. How about that? "It claims us all," says Brian Tiller, talking about Fortnite. This story. EA EA cut 670 jobs. Star Wars game is canceled. Oh, they put the picture of Cal Kestis up. The game, EA, let me read the headline here with you all. EA is canceling an upcoming Star Wars game, will lay off 5% of its employees globally, approximately 670 people. The game, which was in early development, so we wouldn't have seen it for years, would have been a first-person shooter set in the Star Wars universe. And that was a rumor that was just breaking the other day of that potential story, of the potential game. Yeah, look. Yeah, I mean, this is Microsoft in January revealed a plan to lay off 1,900 people, including some of the recently acquired Activision Blizzard. And it's always that, isn't it? Sony announced plans to axe 900 staff. It's closing its London studio. And it's always this acquisition. Matty Gunner says, the UK office is in my town. A few friends of mine from college work there, so hoping it doesn't affect them. And then where do you go? Where do you go? It seems as though, it's funny. I gotta admit, I used to be a little callous when it came to a lot of these announcements of mass layoffs. People lose their jobs, and that's a reality. It's not always a guarantee. Jobs go away, and I think having, in 2018 and then again 2019, January 2020. When Collider finally officially said goodbye to me completely, whereas no longer even freelance there, it sucks, man. And I think I feel, but I think I formed a little bit of a callus around it on an individual level, where it's like, losing your job sucks, as I know, as I've lived in the last not having work for the last couple of months. But now my tone my tone and tenor on this has changed, where you just see industries like this just be gutted. Where do these people go? And it's not about just, hey, they have a dream job, and wouldn't that be great to keep their dream job in the industry they like? It's just like, what do you do with your life? What do you do with your life at this point? And that's what when I talk to a lot of folks, and I talked to someone this weekend. I was at a screening. I talked to another person that's in my industry, and they're like, I'm taking a job out of the industry. I'm figuring it out, but like, your identity is gone. Who you are is gone. It's not just about your identity being tied to jobs. It's what you dreamed about doing when you're growing up, or what you pursued, or what your passions are. And life isn't always about your passions being rewarded. I have that kind of realistic view. Again, a job's a job, and we all got to do what we got to do under this system. But watching this gaming industry be destroyed, when it's still so profitable, watching these big companies acquire other companies. I was watching a TikTok my buddy Ken Plume sent to me about the different ages we've had, and how this information age started about 1950, and they think it went to about 1920 or 2020. Had the rise of the CEO, the rise of Jack Welch was his name, who kind of was the manager of the century in 2000. They named him, and he was the cut the bottom 10% of your employees every year. He was the run by fear, and that the shareholders are the bosses, and that kind of has dominated, and that's what this stuff is about. That's what this stuff is about. And that's when I talk to my family, or talk to people, and they want to, they pull a lot of this. I got in an argument with my family member recently about Mike Rowe. Not an argument, just a exchange of ideas about Mike Rowe, who I think is just a fraud. He's got a great brand, graduated with a degree in communications, went into this kind of work, and he made, championing the causes of the blue-collar workers brand. And by the way, blue-collar workers need people to champion their causes. That's something I'm fine with. But he's one of those, we shouldn't raise the minimum wage because that, people don't want to work, and we should inspire them to work harder to get to a better job. There was a point in my life I probably believed that. There really was truly a point in my life where I probably believed that. But then the federal minimum wage here in America still being around $7.74 or whatever it is, and you see all this kind of stuff going on. It's no longer about that. The idea of working hard is something that I like. A work ethic is something that I like and believe in. Totally believe in that. But this idea that anyone right now in America, I don't know what it is how it is. Maddie, you check in on the UK with me on this. No one working a minimum wage job is like, this is it. I've peaked. I don't want more. And this is it. And also, if you want your entire career to be a manager as a Del Taco, that's your right, because that's the job you want. And maybe your focus is elsewhere. And I'm not saying the manager of Del Taco should make $1 million a year. It's just like they should be allowed to survive. And so this concept that people like Mike Rowe are like, well, if we raise the minimum wage, people just aren't going to want to work hard anymore. People aren't going to want to grow in their careers. F you, man. Anyone I know who's working a job that's on a minimum wage level probably has 2 jobs, probably has 3 jobs. Kingsport Cow says, I'm probably going to work until I'm like 70. Great. Well, trust me, 70's, around the corner for us, fast. Manny Gunner says, it gets me mad when I see people like that. But what about the game or movie when people are losing their livelihoods while these companies are boasting about record profits? Yeah. I think there's a groundswell of support for the idea that the system, the quote-unquote system around the world, the capitalist system around the world, is failing. Not because capitalism as a concept is inherently bad or the free market is inherently bad, but because what it is right now, the realities of it. These few that have the power and these companies just acquiring companies to gut them, to report profits, cutting employees, the shareholders being the bosses. That's where we're at. That news, it's scary news. Scary news. But at least Japan, Japanese baseball star Shohei Otani is married. We got that announcement today. All right, as I start to wrap up, I don't want to get too serious, right? We do want to click on this story. But by the way, this is the BBC covering it here. Matty Gunner says people are scratching to get by and support their families with overpaid politicians to tell them to cancel their Netflix subscriptions and buy our lunch from the clearance section. Welcome. Michael McCarthy says truly broken system plagued by greed. Matthew Stokes updates that retirement age will be 71 soon. Yeah, in the UK. Yeah. We got to start evaluating the system. It doesn't mean toss the system. It doesn't mean a French Revolution is needed. But you have to look at the reality. And that's where I get mad. Again, going back to what I was talking about, this Mike Rowe stuff, the reason it's fresh on my brain. I think there's a lot of folks that hold on, and I could say boomers, and that's an easy answer, but that's a general answer. I think they hold on to these great, big, noble notions. Hard work, American dream, up by your own bootstraps. That's the way. There's a spirit behind that I totally get. I've been around lazy employees. I've fired lazy employees. I get it. Lazy people exist. Unmotivated people exist. It's their right to be that. It exists. But this isn't about that anymore. There was a guy that worked at the mall with me when I was coming up. He was a graveyard guy with me, but he was on the janitorial staff, and I was a security supervisor at night. And he worked 3 full-time jobs. 3 full-time jobs. He had like about a half hour on each side of his shift at the mall where he could sleep before he went to his next job. He would sleep on his lunch break. He was a hard-working dude. He had 3 full-time kind of minimum wage jobs, give or take. That's the case. That's the reality. But you still got these old-timers and these people refusing to acknowledge the changes or acknowledge what's going on or acknowledge the damage all these systems are causing. So they pull into Del Taco and the kid at the drive-thru, and their thought is, well, this kid's got to learn how to work harder, and this kid's got to be motivated to become the CEO of Del Taco. F it. Regarding the French Revolution, and then we'll get to Shohei's marriage, and then we'll get on out of here. Matty Gunner says, I'm starting to think we should be more like the French when things like this happen. That's just my opinion. At this point, I'm not too far from wanting the French Revolution thing, says Michael McCarcel. That French blood coming out. Yeah, when I was in Paris, it was 3 days. 3 days that changed my life. I love Paris so much. And there's some realities to it. We had Grace and I, where she was getting her tattoo. We talked with the tattoo artist and his buddy who came by after work. And we had the protests for the retirement age thing were going on. We could hear them. We could hear them from our hotel. We saw the 300 police officers outside the Louvre when we were getting back, walking back to our hotel. They were staging, ready to clash. And the French guys we were hanging out with in the tattoo parlor were like, hey, it's what we do. We'll protest over anything. And there was a little cynicism in that. It does disrupt their lives, right? As any protest should. That's the point. So they kind of were rolling their eyes on it a little bit. So there's always a reality to it. And even they agreed, look, our economy's not doing well. We might have to raise the retirement age to actually pay for it. But the spirit behind it was I think, what you're talking about, Maddie. They don't let it lie. They don't let it lie. They come together for this. They come together in one cause, the cause of people, I think. And I don't want to over-romanticize it. Again, it's not all perfect. And even these French guys I was talking to were like, I don't know. I'm sitting this one out. I might protest on another one, but I'm sitting this one out. But that's what I take from it. That's the theme behind it for me. They come together. We don't come together a lot out here. Brian Taylor says, greed is the problem. 2022 CEOs were paid 344 times as much as a typical worker, in contrast to 1965 when they were paid 21 times as much as a typical worker. There it is right there. This is why I watch Robert Reich videos. Michael McCarcel says, Viva la revolution. Yeah. And that's the thing I keep explaining. I keep talking. I had, my mom and dad have been very supportive of me during this. They've been supportive of me my entire life, but they've been very supportive of me during this period of time where I've struggled to get by. Even though, again, little ray of hope is finally in my path. And I'd say stuff like that, Brian, because they would, my mom said, and God bless her, was just like, I don't understand. I saw that Amazon's laying off workers, but Amazon reported these huge profits. I'm like, you're right at the cusp of understanding what all of us are angry about. That we're not malcontent, lazy folks who don't want to work or who aren't respectful of jobs. Yes, there's a generational change, and maybe the work ethics and the standards change, but that's how it happens. Sometimes you got to let that go. But also, they just don't see it. A Gen Zer is looking at the future and thinking that the dream everyone else had, even older Gen Xers, probably not for me. So why am I going to care about this? So I was like, yeah, Mom, that's when ExxonMobil is reporting record profits and you're over here complaining about Biden and gas prices. It's a lot more complicated than that. Just like Shohei Otani's marriage. This, according to the BBC, baseball superstar Shohei Otani, one of Japan's most eligible bachelors, has announced that he is married, stirring a frenzy on social media. The Los Angeles Dodgers star announcement came as shock as he had closely guarded his private life. Good for him. I wanted everyone to know I'm now married, the 29-year-old said on Thursday on an Instagram post. Otani described his Japanese bride as someone who was very special to me, but did not close her identity. 2 people plus 1 dog will grow together, he told his 7 million Instagram followers, adding that he would hold a press conference on Friday. Imagine that, folks. Imagine that, where if you're out there, you have to hold a press conference to tell people you're married. And I'm not saying that as a cynical dig at Otani or the whole hoopla here. He probably needs to do this. Imagine living that kind of life under that kind of microscope. David McKay says, getting married on 29th of February is smart. You only need to remember your anniversary once every 4 years. My grandmother, my late grandmother, born on the 29th. And we would celebrate her birthday every 4 years. We joke, but we would do it every year. But yeah, she was a leap year baby 100 years ago. Brian Tiller says, Shohei seems like a good dude and can play low. He can play a little. He can ball. He can ball. No, he seems like a good, grounded dude. Kingsport Cal. I'm not even going to repeat that, but that's funny. Shohei Otani seems like a good, grounded guy. Like Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, I think, is grounded. See that story of Andy Reid was saying the Taylor Swift baked some goodies for the Kansas City locker room? She ain't perfect, I know, but I am Team Taylor all the way. All the way, Team Taylor. That's me. And I'm glad you're all Team me. Thanks for hanging out, doing 20 minutes of coffee. Thanks for supporting all the things we do here. A lot of fun. Become a channel member so you can get in the stream and join the chat and support the channel as well. Don't forget to check out the Stream Elements store if you want to get one of these nice, sweet beanies. I might need a new one soon, too. And a lot of other things, including coffee mugs. You're all the best around. Nobody's ever going to get you down. The best around. I can't hit notes. Bye, everybody. Bye.